Hi guys, my name is Shania and welcome to the Blonde Booknerd. This is my first video, so most of the video is actually not going to look like this, but I was just editing and there's this really weird sound in my intro and I thought it would be okay, but it's not. So I just wanted to pop on here real quick and sum up what I had said. Basically, I thought the Booktube Newbie Tag would be a really good way to start off this channel, and I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, so it seemed like a good time. So I'll let us get into the tag now. You can watch that. Hopefully the sound doesn't bug you too much. It does pop in a few times, nothing crazy, but it should be okay.
So the first question is, why did you start this channel? So I kind of touched on that already. Basically, I just want to be part of the conversation. I've been a viewer for a really long time, and it just felt right to contribute. It felt like a good time to join in, and I really want to make some bookish friends. I don't have a whole lot in real life. I mean, I have friends who like to read, but none that live near me, which makes it a little bit more challenging to have these conversations. And my fiance will listen, but he just, yeah. So I thought it would be nice to, join the community of other people who have similar thoughts. And I have run a Bookstagram for the past few years, off and on. Same name, the Blonde Booknerd. It'll be linked down below if you want to go follow me on there. But I thought this is just another avenue to discuss. So question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? So one thing that I thought for sure would be kind of interesting is I am such a varied reader. I read so many different genres. I am very much a mood reader, which means my reading tastes shift pretty frequently, if I'm being honest. So some of my favorite genres include mystery, historical fiction. I like some contemporary adult fiction. I like cozy mysteries. I've recently started doing some nonfiction, still not a whole lot, but I'm getting there. I like some fantasy, paranormal. I read a little bit of everything, which those are my favorite booktubers to watch because it forces me to think outside of my little box. And that's honestly how I've discovered some of my favorite genres. So I never used to read historical fiction, and then I saw, I believe it was Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand talking about the Nightingale, picked it up, and I became obsessed. I love historical fiction. It's one of my all-time favorite genres, and that's because she reads very widely. So I went to her channel because she talked about books that I already enjoyed, and then she really broadened my reading taste just with one book recommendation. So that's one thing that I think people will get here, is that I read so varied. There's something for everyone, and I really hope that I can also help introduce someone to something that they didn't really think they'd like and end up loving. So question 3 is, what are you most excited about for this channel? Like I said earlier, being part of the conversation. I have been a lurker, which sounds super creepy, but I've been a lurker for a long time, and I just really want to be part of the conversation, make some friends, have some fun, and just talk books. There is nothing more I love than talking books. Honestly, like, I could talk books all day. Question number 4 is, why do you love reading? This is a hard one. I love reading as an escape. I found, especially recently, that I don't want to think about what's going on in the world. There's a lot of things that happen that are, I do have anxiety, which can be affected. And when I read, I'm worried about something else. It's a completely different world. And I love that. I love that I can explore so many things from my couch. I also love how much I can learn. I learn so much by reading fiction and nonfiction, which I think is amazing. It's one reason World War II is one of my favorite time periods to read about, because it's real. Like, it happened, but so much happened, and I think it's so important to remember those things. So I love reading about it because I learn. Never been a very social person, ever. I don't really like going out. I'm very introverted, and reading gives me friends and adventures from home. It's very comforting, and it's always been there. No matter where we lived, reading was there, books were there, and I just love going to a different world, a different story, different people, and getting to experience that without actually being forced out of my comfort zone. Maybe that sounds crazy, I don't know. Number 5, what book or series got you into reading? There really isn't one. I have read for as long as I can remember. I know my mom has told me growing up when I was really small, I would walk around with like this stack of books before I could even read them, and I'd get mad because I couldn't read them. So I would like pretend that I could and make up my own stories. So reading has always been a part of my life, which that's not really a good answer, but I can't remember a time where I didn't read. When I was younger, my favorite genre definitely leaned toward mysteries, which is still a recurring theme today. So I read a lot of the Bailey School Kids. I thought those were fantastic. I read, I think, every single The New Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley books. They were like mystery books, and I loved those. I devoured those. I read every one that the library had in my school library. I loved them. And then when I was 9, I read Harry Potter. And like, I'd been reading up until then. That wasn't a turning point, but it was, Harry Potter kind of paved the way for me to read other things. And yeah, I also read a lot of Babysitter's Club. I loved the Babysitter's Club. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So my one thing I think I would definitely ask is, how do you get over the fear of people like judging you for making videos? I'm making this, but I'm still kind of nervous about people finding it and being like, oh my gosh, you just talk about books on the internet, what? And also, of course, hate comes, so how do you deal with hate? Question number 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? So I'm a full-time student from September to April. I just finished my last exam on Saturday, so 2 days ago actually. So during the school year, it's busy. I work part-time while I'm in school, so time is definitely going to be a bit of a challenge during the school year. Right now I'm on summer break. I am taking 2 electives that start in June, so I'll be doing that while working, but they're online. Like, it should be okay. I am a little worried about during the school year, if I'm being honest. That being said, this past semester I just finished, I really made it a point to incorporate reading every single day for fun. I had to teach myself not to feel guilty about doing that, because that is a coping mechanism for me. That is something I enjoy, and I need to remain sane. I'm definitely going to be doing that again in the fall. I think then it may be a little bit more of like reading vlogs and stuff I can kind of incorporate, and it might end up even being just some regular vlogs. I don't know if you guys will care, but just in order to get something up. But I definitely think maintaining consistency during the school year and finding the time is probably going to be the largest challenge. So number 8, when did you start reading? I already talked about this. I never didn't read. Even when I couldn't read, I read. Number 9, where do you read? I read anywhere I can. Anywhere. If I feel the need to read, I'm going to read. If I'm at home, which is obviously where I am most of the time, I read either on the couch or on the bed. I typically don't read in bed at night, surprisingly, unless it's like right before bed and that's the plan. But I do find I get tired, so I like to read on the couch. We have a chair. In the summertime, I actually really like to read outside. We live in an apartment building, which we don't actually have a balcony, which is really unfortunate. So last summer, I spent a lot of time down at a local park by the lake and just to get some fresh air and read during the evening time. That's one of my favorite things to do, for sure. I love being by the water and reading there. So number 10, the final question is, what kind of books do you like to read? I touched on this a bit earlier too. I read a little bit of everything, and it very much varies by my mood. So I love mysteries and thrillers. I love cozy mysteries, which there isn't a whole lot on Booktube of. There's Courtagonist, who I love her. Courtney, she's amazing. If you haven't checked her out, like, go watch her. Love thrillers. Historical fiction is huge. I love those. I do read some YA, not as much as I used to, but it's definitely still pretty prominent. I just finished a YA book yesterday, which I'll be filming my April wrap-up soon, so you'll see that. It was a bit of a YA month. So I definitely prefer YA. Like, I love the contemporary books, Morgan Matson, Sarah Dessen, like, yes please. I also like more the fantasy and paranormal. I tend to gravitate towards the ones that are YA. For adult, I love like contemporary romance, rom-coms. So I love Christina Lauren, Colleen Hoover. Let's just get this out of the way because she can be kind of polarizing. I love Colleen Hoover. They're amazing. And honestly, I don't read too much into them, which I think is probably why I love them, but that's okay. Love Jodi Picoult. I read a little bit of middle grade, not a lot. Definitely all over the place, and you will get to know that, and it really depends on my mood. Right now, the book I'm reading is like I don't think it's a thriller, but it's definitely like a creepy vibe, which I'm really enjoying. And like I said, I do read some nonfiction, not a ton, but if I do, the majority of it is true crime. I love true crime. So I've read some other nonfictions, but most of it is murder, let's be honest. I do have a bit of a commute to school, which I listen to podcasts sometimes. I have a hard time with fiction audiobooks, but nonfiction seems to be okay. So I do listen to audiobooks, and most of them are nonfiction, which I'm kind of okay with because, then I get to learn a bit more and listen, and I feel like that 45-minute drive to and from school isn't wasted. I've also been playing Animal Crossing lately, and if I'm listening to an audiobook, it doesn't feel like I'm just wasting my time. Okay guys, so that is the end of the Booktube Newbie Tag. I really hope you enjoyed it enough to maybe stick around. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and there will be more coming soon. It's nice to meet you. Bye guys.